Hey everyone, so welcome to the episode on the podcast Koon Rijjeil. So today we have an incredible guest, honestly someone who I followed for a period of time, mostly because I really liked her views on life and dating and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, man, wow, this person is someone who I definitely need to bring on the podcast. So welcome Layla Saleh.
Thank you.
Welcome to Koon Rijjeil.
Thank you.
So
Thanks for having me.
بالعكس to me it's always good one to get like different types of like guests, but also female audience, female guests as well, just because one, with every man and man's mental health story, there's always a woman involved, and it's not in a bad way, it's always in a good way. It's always to get their point of view on things, and also to share our own thoughts about life.
All right.
So the way we like to start every episode is إذا حدا بيقول, not to you, بس إنه حدا بتعرفيه or someone around you بيقول له كون رجال. What does that mean to you?
Ooh. It's funny enough, I'll look at the person saying it rather than the person he's saying it to. So if I think the person within themselves who is saying it isn't a genuine man, then I disregard it completely as either projection, an attempt to insult, or anything negative of the sorts. Or if it's a genuine man would say it in the most loving way. I think Koon Rijjeil means just being in your divine masculine. And it's not the Western definition of masculinity. I'm talking about the true definition of masculinity that doesn't change based on people's opinions.
And what does that look like in practicality?
A genuine man in his divine masculinity is a protector, is a provider, is a leader, is an alpha without the negative connotation that alpha is associated with. It is a person you can lean on and a backbone, and the person who has found the sweet spot and the equilibrium between all of what I just stated, and also understanding female emotion, highly emotionally intelligent towards others and towards himself, with women and with men. That is the epitome of a Rijjeil to me.
Yeah, and I think we're slowly, super slowly, but slowly getting to that version, right? لأنه كتير over the past few years or long time كان في كتير influence from the West of what a man should be, and then from the films you see, from the stuff and all this, اختلفت الصورة, and then the rise of different people recently. People are starting to be a little bit more aware of being open, being vulnerable, being emotionally aware for himself, but also others, but also to maintain these traits that make you a man, which is being the protector, being the provider, being the leader, being the sanad, being all that. So no, بالعكس, I think what you said is totally true.
I think the pendulum, and I hear this a lot in some of the podcasts that I watch, but from the West, this is going to be a little controversial, but I tend to watch the conservative people's podcasts more. So Candace Owens, George Janko, I watch it and I take what I need from it. They always refer to this, the left من عندهم, that the pendulum swinged so far to the left that because nature always has to go back to a balance, it swinged very far to the right. And that's why you have intense people like Andrew Tate coming out, who I actually quite enjoy. I am a fan.
No, by the way, it's funny because one of my best friends used to love Andrew Tate. Like أول ما طلع إنه, but in the context of like his like dog mentality, we hustle, we work, all this stuff. And then بلش يطلع, these TikTok reels, of him saying stuff about women and stuff. And every time I would hear him talk, especially on that Piers Morgan interview when he did like a while back, and every other podcast he's done, it was always like it's taken out of context. I'm like, let me see,
much, yeah.
Let me see what he's talking about. Like maybe عن جد هيدا. هلا again في قصص بيحكيها that I agree with 100%. قصص
But
not so much.
That's a very logical reaction to everything, because people take it to an extreme. If you say you like Andrew Tate, then you're this fascist extremist. There is no one in this world that you can show me who has a show or a book or whatever who I will agree with 100% of what they say. I don't agree with 100% of what Andrew Tate says. I don't agree with 100% of what Candace says. But you cannot deny that it's not everything he says is ridiculous.
Of course not. No.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, of course. And even his brother, like
Tristan?
both of them, they're like they're like like you learn, you can take things from them that help you in your life. Again, as you said in the podcast you'd watch, there are things you take because they benefit you, some things maybe not so much. To me, it's the same thing with him. I like some of the things he says. It makes sense. Some things maybe not so much, but that's fine.
I agree.
Yeah.
I fully agree. It was very interesting. I used to despise him because it was a trend, right? And I wasn't interested in podcasts or anything of the sorts. And I had started to really shift and decide, okay, this is my views on feminism and manhood and womanhood really began to mold and take place. And then I had said in front of my dad, oh, I hate Andrew Tate. And he just was like, why? I'm like, the way he talks about women. He's like, what does he say about women? So I mentioned this video and that, and he said the same thing. He's like, that's a 10-second clip out of a 3-hour podcast. Yeah. And then I went and rabbit hole deep dove into his videos, and I watched the 3-hour-long podcast, the 4-hour-long, the 2-hour-long, and it has nothing to do with the 20-second clips you see on Instagram. And then, subhanAllah, now being on the receiving end of it, because I post clips anywhere between 20 seconds to a minute and 10 seconds, and people will take 20 seconds and go with it
and take it as this is who Layla is, this is what she believes in, and there's nothing, like, it's just in this space, there's nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem now.
Yeah,
in general.
I agree.
In general, I remember. So I know my little sister, by the way, is exactly like that, where Andrew Tate started to come out, I just said, I was like, my friend really likes him. She was like, I don't like your friend. وكيف بحبه انت كيف قبلانه.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then again, it was that trend where all the young boys started to listen to Andrew Tate, which is more of like this calling of the person you'd look up to, someone who's a leader, who's a fighter. You aspire to be like them in some things. It's we need a bit of his energy.
I fully agree. I did a video talking about how the value of a man and people lost their minds, but this is quite true. And as a man, I would hope you would agree, but we'll see. Is that so? The way you were raised and your sister were raised, your morals and your ethics are the same. But what you have to do to be the best version of yourself and what your sister needs to do to be the best version of herself are two very separate things. Extremely separate. They are both equal in value, but they are both very different and different trajectories. If your sister, and I don't know if she's married, but if she were ever to get married, inshallah, or have kids or whatever, there's no shame in her not working and sitting at home. No one will judge her. And this narrative of, oh, if I say I want to be a stay-at-home mom, people will judge me. It's absolutely unfounded and untrue, because I have not seen it around me, at least within the regions that we've we grew up in. If you say, I don't want to work, I just want to stay at home, society will devour you. There is nothing you can achieve. There's nowhere you can go where you will be revered, looked up to, because it goes against your nature as a man to just want to sit at home and do nothing. It's a waste of your manhood. Yeah. And then people lost their minds over that, but it's true. Lose your mind all you want.
So look, so I think, like, when you look at the, like, if a lady says, like, okay, I'll get married, I'll stay at home. My idea ما حقول لازم تشتغل. If you want to work, and for me, I would always want people to work, لأنه بالآخر that's how you grow in life. To me, you go out, you work, experience, you meet people, you deal with things, life goes on. Okay. And if it's a man, it's exactly the same thing. Men not working, to me, I know it's a very new concept to me. Like, I'm hearing it more and more often. I don't know if I agree with it, to be honest.
I don't know who you're talking to hear it more often. I'm hearing the absolute opposite.
I'm hearing it a lot more often.
Change your circles.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Change your circles.
I'm really trying to. It's like, so, and it's that kind of thing where like the whole equality question comes in, right? Because some people might be like, okay, man, no, if a woman doesn't have to work, then why do I need to work? I mean, why don't we? Could be, and that's sort of the thing where, and again, and I might get this completely wrong, but it's like over the past, I'll say 5-6 years, can feed this whole movement of like gender equality, right? And whatever a woman can do, a man should do, and vice versa. But when that's being put into question, or bringing that question up of, okay, if a woman doesn't have to work, then I don't need to work as a man. It's like, well, no, not really. And I always wonder what your thoughts about that are, because on one hand, we're always striving for that balance in terms of how people feel, how people act, but at the same time, there's roles, whether we like it or not. As a man, you have a role. As a woman, you also have your own role within your own circle, and
Yes.
same thing as a man. So I'm not so sure how you think about it.
The equality part in terms of then if women,
Yeah.
okay. In the most simplest terms, and then I'll go into details, the day you can pop a baby out of your stomach, tell me you want to stay at home.
Fair.
Those are, do you get what I'm saying? It is an honor and a duty for a woman to bear children. I think it's one of the main reasons we were put on this earth, and I have to always add that it's not the only reason we were made. But it is a beautiful honor and duty, and I really do not like the people who transgress this line of responsibility and divine honor and say we have to. I ruined my body to do this. That's a horrible mentality. That's absolutely insane. The blessing to be able to bring a child and create a family and all of that, right? Equality. So you don't have to be a feminist to demand equality.
100%.
And equality also to me is, it's very fickle, because that you remember. I don't know if you remember years ago there was this picture that used to go viral. It was a little cartoon of a fish, a giraffe, a lion, a seal, along those lines, and in a race, and who would win. Like the fish is in a bowl.
Exactly.
You know, and we have to take that into account. If a man says, "Oh, you." You want to stay at home, so I want to stay at home, that's not a man. And there's no argument about it. That's just not a man.
That's interesting. So
it's not a man. That has nothing to do with manhood. That has nothing to do with being a man. And also, the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way you said it sounded like a petty scenario. Not that you're petty, but like a petty scenario of, oh, if she has to, she can stay at home. Then
no. If you can do it, then I have to do it. It's like,
okay.
well,
no, you sound like a little girl. I would tell that man, you sound not a man. That child, you sound like a little girl. You're not a man, and probably weren't raised by a man, and probably have daddy issues.
Wow.
Absolutely. If you go into the history, and it's quite interesting, most of these people have deep daddy issues. There's so many studies on it. So many.
So interesting, honestly. No, and I think, one of the, like, one of the biggest things that I always think about is, again, is this balance. And again, in the Arab culture, I think we're very far, or we're not very, but we're far from what's happening on the West. We're still متحافظين على the تقاليد, about the roles and all this sort of stuff. But I think at some point that will shift. I think, I hope not. But
I'll fight it.
Let's just do a big movement.
I will fight it.
Yeah, on the grounds.
I will fight it every second of every day if that even tries to make its way here. Absolutely not. But go on.
No. So it's and it's along that line, which is I always wonder what's the like how would you avoid that from happening, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a taw'iyah, which is, again, a Rijjeil should do X, Y, Z and beyond, and the woman should do X, Y, Z and beyond. But it doesn't mean that they need to overlap. Doesn't mean that whatever a woman do, I need to do as a man, and vice versa. So I don't know. It's a question that I think about a lot, which is, how do you find that balance? How do you find, and as well, how can you educate people that this is the way to live, and not do that, because that also has its own consequences in its own way.
A very interesting conversation that I had with a friend end of February, and mind you, she is French, and like fully French, and not very religious. So I think I want to say Christian just by birth, but very liberal in the house. And we were talking about this relationships and feminism, and she was seeking advice, and she actually surprised me with her answer when we were talking about what is it that you can't do that a man can do, especially in the European West and all of that. And it took her a while to think about it, but then she said, walk in the streets in France at night. Interesting, right? My brother can't walk in the streets in Paris at night. Woman or man.
Of course.
It's actually dangerous. But then we went deeper into it, and so people usually tend to talk about the problem, and the second I ask what you asked is how can we avoid or problem solve, and her answer, was so interesting. She said religion. She said, having moved and lived in Dubai, seeing the religion, seeing the culture, seeing the adat wa taqalid, like you said, the traditions, the respect, even if you're not the most devout, for example, Muslim, there is the energy of Islam, and she witnessed it firsthand, and she said it changes everything.
Like, I think, look, religion, I think for sure, 100%. And I think حتى, and I think حتى it's even the society in which you're in, يعني even if you're not Muslim, even if you, whatever.
The true essence of religion, it's given
Yeah,
people
exactly.
truly the tools to navigate these scenarios.
The tools and acting based off of what you see, and what you see is the norm, right? No, I think, to me, again, personally, in the West, in Europe, the balance is very off. There's no balance. It's
Absolutely.
It's very off. بس هون في نوعا ما a bit of a balance. There's a bit of a way of working, a way of living, a way of being as a man and as a female. وفي that common respect between one another.
I think if everyone, this is quite interesting, and I came to this notion a few years ago. I think if everyone, did the work on themselves and truly went back to their divine purpose. So in your case, your divine masculinity, and in my case, and my divine femininity. And if this was implemented in every household, truly, all of that inner shadow work, the healing, the walking your divine purpose, we would not be facing this issue. The biggest issue of our generation is most people are looking for outward problems to solve and a cause to back up, like global warming or veganism or animal cruelty, and their whole life becomes that's an extreme example of actual cases, but in other cases it could be helping your friend or creating this, and everything has been so externalized that if it was more so internalized and then taken into communities, so internally and then together as a community, we would not be facing this issue.
No, I think, I mean, definitely, I think as well, like, because when you're focusing on different people and their problems and anything else, you seem to forget about yourself, right? It's that you forget what your goal is in life or how to heal yourself, and that's one of the biggest things that I'm seeing is that, you know, like even from my side, like I remember for the longest time I would never work on myself. I would never think about it. It wasn't ever a thought. It was just, شو يعني to journal, to write, to talk to someone. Never. Until I started to meet different people, speak to different people, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the society, about the culture, about the ways of thinking. I started to realize, like, okay, but that's what I didn't do is what's normal, which is to take care of myself, which is to journal, which is to write, which is to be open, be vulnerable, to not be afraid of whatever it is that's...
What's vulnerability to you as a man?
So to me, it's being as open as I possibly can be. So open in terms of emotions. So and not being afraid to say exactly what I think 100% unfiltered. To not hide how I want to be doesn't have to be emotional, just in terms of physical acts, in terms of energy, to not restrain myself from being who I want to be. No, that's not the life I want to live for myself anymore. And just honestly, just being as open as I can be in all walks of life. How about you?
Vulnerability?
For you?
For a man or for a woman?
For a woman. And I mean, we'll start with women because
I think when the human accepts that they are in a perpetual state of vulnerability, that's when they become their most powerful. Because when you really think about it, you are in control of absolutely nothing. You don't even control when you go pee. My dad once sent this to me as a kid, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh my goodness.
That makes so much sense now.
When you think, it's so humbling. I don't even control when my body says, okay, get up, you need to go pee. Get up, you need to drink water, you're thirsty. Nothing. I don't control when I blink, when I breathe, nothing. So when I accepted that I am in a perpetual state of vulnerability, I could go like this. I could be in my life could change like this, and nothing's in my control. And the only thing I can somewhat remotely learn to control is my mind. That is when I realized how strong we actually are. So vulnerability to me is that. It's just recognizing that your entirety is vulnerable. Every part of you.
By the way, I never thought about it like that, to be very blunt. I even the example you gave about what your dad said, I was like, that's crazy.
I know, he said it to me, and I think I was 15 or 16 at the time, and I was going through something about, again, angsty teenager, so it had to do with emotions and control and self-discipline, I believe.
Yeah.
And he just laughed, and he looked at me, he's like, hey, we're in control of nothing. He's like, you can't control when you pee. And when he said that, I was really taken aback, because you can't. It's actually...
You can't, and it makes so much sense.
You're in control of nothing. Nothing. I believe it was when a friend of mine in high school, he was in my class, and he was an atheist. And I was very distraught by that fact. 16, I was an idiot. I was just distraught in the sense of, not that I wanted him to be a certain religion and really religious, but the beauty of the divine. And I was so sad that he didn't know that. And I was like, Dad, how can I, like, what conversation can I have with him? And I think that's when he mentioned it. He's like, how can you not give credit to a higher, you don't even control when you pee. That's when he said it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Honestly. I never thought I'd ever think about it like that, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay. So one thing I honestly did want to like chat with you about, because I've went through your social, like your reels that you've been posting, and there's one thing that I've always wanted to talk to you about, which is the role of a man in a relationship.
Okay.
Because again, going back to masculinity, going back to all this stuff, there is a very big question mark as to what do you do, or how are you meant to be, or how do you what's the masculine way of living? What's the masculine way of you being in a relationship with?
When you're saying there's a question mark, who put that question mark?
People in general. Social media, for example, like you'd find like a TikTok, for example, that says, oh, like, for example, like POV, I'm the one taking, like, from perspective of female, like, I'm the one picking where we're going out for dinner. It's like I'm dating my friend, or like my sister, or whatever.
Okay.
Like, so it's that sort of thing where it's like, again, there's a lot of not whole pressure, but a lot of decisions that you need to make as a man. Sometimes you expect to take them, sometimes you're not expected to take them, but then in your mind you're like, I should be, but I shouldn't. So that's something that I always wonder about.
There is pressure. Be pressured. It's so... Be pressured. You're a man. Take it. Be pressured. I'm a woman and I face pressures every day. And khalas, I have to look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, just face the pressures. Go do it. So, but you're a man. And especially if the woman is... I'll say it again, a high value woman, and a good woman. And you can see that you could have a happy, agreeable, easy life with her, because that's very rare, and don't undermine how rare that is. So if there is the pressure of, I need to impress her, I need to pick a restaurant, or I need to do those things, feel the pressure. Just be pressured. Do it.
And see where it takes you.
Like, are you expecting to have nothing in this world comes easy. I always say this dunya is designed to test you. This dunya is designed to test every single part of you. So if you find a woman that you genuinely believe you can have children with, you can build a home with, that will be your backbone and the person you come to after a long day of work and feel at ease and be able to shake the shackles of the day off with, and you have to pick a restaurant, pick it.
Of course.
Pick it.
Yeah.
So the role of a man in a relationship, I'm not going to say I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know, but I do. I don't know what most people out there want. Most people out there say they don't know. Actually, wait, I'm going to say this very properly. Wait. Most people out there claim to say they know what they want. And by people, I'm talking especially about the women, because I'm going to talk about my side.
Go ahead.
They claim to know what they want. And they claim to say, I want this kind of man and this, and he has to let me be this, this, and that. And then you go into their lives and they'll tell you, I'm happy single, and. Most women I know are quite desperate for a partner. And I use the word desperate very much so on purpose. And they look back at how they wasted their 20s falling for the Western ideology of feminism, and they regret it deeply. And they are genuinely good women. And any man would truly be lucky to have them, because they would build a beautiful home you know, and these women specifically, and I'm not saying every woman would, because that's an impossibility. And they are now looking for that alpha male. And I say alpha with the most beautiful connotation here, not negative. Because when I say I don't believe in toxic masculinity, it is because masculinity is divine. The masculinity that you've been given is a divine gift. The femininity that I've been given is a divine gift. If it is toxic at any point, you're not in your masculine. You're just toxic, you're lost. You cannot be in your masculinity. It is an impossibility. So most of these women now are truly searching for that man who will come in, who is already way deep into his career and very well off, either senior or an entrepreneur or CEO or of the sorts, right? They're looking for a man now. They don't even want men in their 35s anymore. They're like, I'm ready for a man who's 40. Like, بدي زلمة. بدي رجال. Literally.
بدك تكون رجال.
And they're saying, I don't want to work anymore. تعبت. I hear it from women all the time. تعبت. So the women didn't allow the men to be men, and they became men themselves. And now they're pushing 40 or mid-30s, and they're like, oh, damn. I just want to be a mara, and I just want him to be a rajal. So, and unfortunately, 10 years down the line, it's much harder than right now.
Why do you think that?
Because your dating pool gets smaller, your standards change. It is much harder. It is much harder down the line. I hate to say it. Women in their 30s are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I'm so excited for my 30s. Absolutely excited. But a woman pushing 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, especially if she lived a more open lifestyle when she was younger, it's very hard for that men of men to come pick you rather than someone who is 25 to 30 and who worked on herself and is in her divine femininity. And it's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard.
You know, and you know, the thing is, one of the things that I always think about, which is like, you know, because the pool is getting a lot smaller, your standards will change, right? Your standards might drop because you feel like it's like a time clock, right? It's like a sand clock that's just like every day.
Yeah, the sand. I don't know what you call it.
Exactly,
the
sand clock. I think that's what it's called.
Is it the hourglass?
Maybe
hourglass. Yeah.
So كل يوم you're getting less time, and you're like, okay, even for men, we're getting older. We're not getting any younger. Women come in, the same thing. They'll tell you, I'm getting older. I need to get married and all this. So you and unfortunately, this is what I feel, is that we're dating or getting married to people because we want to get married or
Absolutely.
date. And not because, we're sort of alluding to, which is it's such a beautiful thing to go ahead and get married and start a family and like live this incredible life with someone because you want to, because
Absolutely.
you مش لأنه, I don't know, this is like my life path. I need to just tick the boxes, because that shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't, absolutely not. And when you do things in that way, it always fires back, and you end up not only making yourself miserable, but as a man, if you put a woman through that, your karma, to put a woman through that misery, it's quite unbearable. That being said, I don't completely remove the blame from the women, because a lot of women also want to get married for the sake of getting married.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely.
They just want to have a big bash, and which I find ridiculous. But don't even get me through that.
And slumber parties.
Don't even get me started.
God knows what. Yeah.
Don't even get me started. But I just want to answer your question as well as I possibly can. The man's role in a relationship, especially to me, is that you are a leader. I trust where you take me. I trust your thought process. I trust your logical conclusions. I trust your discipline. I trust your mental discipline. I trust your emotional intelligence. I trust your radar and your instinct for danger and for what could come and what could happen. I trust that you're always 5 steps ahead, because I am always 5 steps ahead. So actually, you need to be 10 steps ahead. I'm always 5 steps ahead of everything. I really try to be. So if I'm like that, you need to be 10 steps ahead. And my most important thing for what a man needs to do in a relationship, and I would urge any woman to please take this, is that he needs to bring you closer to God. It is so important, because a man who fears God will take you بعين الاعتبار. He won't just hurt you and be emotional and not think twice. It is an impossibility. And to me, this year, it was very interesting. We were talking about this yesterday, me and my girls. I'm heavy on my deen. Heavy on my deen this year. So it started end of last year. I was like, I'm going into 2024, praying my 5 prayers, reading my books. Just, I really want to be closer to God, because I am of the firm belief, you take 1 step closer to God, he takes 10 towards you. So your partner, especially if he's in his divine masculine, needs to always bring you closer to that. Not in the sense of making you a fanatic,
No.
but it's just about the divine love, the spirituality. And if that is in your household, the nucleus of your family is so strong that nothing can shake it, because this dunya is designed to test you. So unless you are solid in your divine path and purpose, all those external issues, you can fight together as a team. It's you and him against the world, and not both of you already against each other and then fighting the world. Yeah. So that is what a man should be in a relationship.
That is, thing is, like, and I'll talk about it from my side. Like, usually whenever like I'm in a relationship, like one of the first things I had, again, not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna say I'm not the most religious. I'm religious. I do pray, alhamdulillah, like I fast and all this. Ramadan season.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak, everyone. So, but how do you say it? Like, I'm not, كيف بيقولوا, I don't know, fanatic's a bit extreme, but the very extreme. I'm not.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry to interrupt you. I always say fanatic because, unfortunately, and this has nothing to do just with Islam, but the second you mention God or wanting to be religious or build a relationship with God, people immediately assume something so extreme.
بيصير في خوف, بيصير في this radical side of whatever it is.
Yes.
No, and that's definitely هيدا. So to me, one of the first few things that I شخصيا look for is, are they religious? Or no, it doesn't need to be religious as in, I don't know, يعني super closed off.
Are you looking for it as a warning or as something you want?
Something I want, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
بالعكس, it's يعني, and again, it's funny because they always say إنه البنت دايما بتتجوز حدا مثل بيها, والشاب دايما بيتجوز مرة بتكون similar in a way لأمه. Alhamdulillah, my mom is super religious, so to me it's super comforting to see, to have in my life. Well, that's the first thing I look for, and if it's not there, I don't force it. I'm not بالآخر ماني شيخ to tell people والله do. No, أنا بيني وبين حالي, or my role is to guide or is to hint. But beyond that, it's all about كل واحد هو إرادته شو. يعني بالآخر, you can't force someone to do something if they don't want to do it.
Can I ask you something? So I understand you referred to your mom, Allah يخلي لك إياها, that she's very religious and spiritual, which I think is beautiful. But have you taken some time to think about it a little more deeply as to why you search for that in someone?
It reminds me of my mom, honestly.
But there's more. That can't be the sole reason if that's one of the first things you look for. If it is something you appreciate in your mother, it is most likely something that you are searching for yourself.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah. And we attract, in the Quran they say الطيبون للطيبات, and I used to, obviously I'm not a sheikha, but there are a lot of things I don't understand, and then there are a lot of things where the understanding comes to me with ease. And that one I never really understood it, because I was like, but there are so many people that end up in toxic marriages, so, but then I really learned that.
But that's not their be-all end-all.
Yeah. So your soul yearns for things. So if you're looking for that in someone, it is most likely that you're searching for it in yourself to begin with first. Definitely. And that's why when I say about masculinity is divine and femininity is divine, if you found yourself here and searching for what is a man, like what does it mean to be a genuine man? Religion and God truly teach you how to be a divine man in the most beautiful of ways. And that's why I say your divine purpose. So if you want to be your divine masculine, once you are in your divine masculinity, the divine feminine will like beat a pollen. It will happen without you even realizing it. But you have to be it first.
Oh, by the way, what you said is very true. Like, I know for the longest time in my life, my whole life, I've been very on and off. I'll be very blunt. Very on and off. I'd start praying. I'd do everything I need to do.
As we all are.
بعدين برجع بقول اوكي انه I need to get back انه ولو انه شاب طويل عريض لازم شو انه ما بيصير but also as well to thank God for everything that I have in life.
Oh, gratitude, yes.
So and then برجع when I'm talking to someone I'm like okay so they pray that's amazing, like they read the Quran, that's amazing, like wow, you know. And then that's what attracts me closer, because I think مثل ما you were sort of saying, which is also true, which is it's something that I need help with, because I know that I can't do it. You probably can't do it by yourself.
Of course
But
you can.
I always need that. أنا شخصيا as Kareem, I always need a push to get myself either over the line or to get started. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where definitely, like, you know, it's super important to have that aspect in your life. And it just brings you so much inner peace to start with. And again, it's also like a book for life, like a book of, or in general, like religion,
Yes.
across all religions. Yani.
I fully agree. Absolutely.
There's always a learning. There's always a way of living, which is, but I guess we should learn from it.
I fully agree. That's why I say religion in general, because to each their own. You know, I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, but I'm not. I don't want to butcher this, but lakum dinakum waliya dini. We are not allowed to get involved in other people's, unless someone comes and tries to impose something on me. That is where I am allowed to defend my home and my mind. But it is not our job to go teach anyone anything about any religion, whatever they choose to do. But when I say find God, in any capacity, way, shape, or form, if you go looking for God will allow you to find him. 100%. So that's why when I give this advice, it's not because I'm trying to convert people to Islam. It's genuinely, I would give this advice to men and women alike. If you want your life to be on track, find God. I cannot stress and emphasize this enough. It is life-changing. Yes. Because it's interesting, I had this conversation with myself actually yesterday.
Nice.
And I was thinking about when you do genuinely find God, I credit everything to him. Everything good comes from God, everything negative comes from me. That's just the way I am. And it's so humbling. And then I had this moment where I thought, those men and women who don't have God, when they succeed or when they overcome something, do they credit themselves? It's such an egotistical state of being. It's such a narcissistic state of existence. I cannot imagine myself overcoming a hurdle or something I was panicking about, because usually you panic over something and then, subhanAllah, it always works out in the end. And I can't imagine it working out and me crediting myself. Exactly. I can't imagine being with a man who would credit himself. It was very humbling. And I took a moment to just thank God, like, thank you for allowing me to credit you.
And protecting me from all the people that, you know, go against how you think and how you live and how you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the most important part.
You have to be disciplined. You have to, especially as a man. Because this world will chew you up and spit you out if you do not have the mental discipline. You have to be very wary of the circles you surround yourself with. But as a man, you should be able to navigate any circle and come out very much on top. So this is something that I tell people quite often. I just turned 29 yesterday. And I always say, after 29 years, I've learned to pick up patterns on human behavior. So I can walk into a room and just have a simple, and it's not about impressions, but a simple conversation with someone and almost guess the kind of category they fall into. Either attention seeking, extremely insecure, narcissist, any of those complexes, right? You have to be able to pinpoint. As a man, you have to be able to do that 10 times more. You have to be able to control a room.
I mean, look, I think to control a room, yes. And I think as well to, again, be able to read people, and again, whoever. I think Andrew Tate said it once, or someone.
Love him.
So it's like basically like you need to attract or get people who can go to war with you in a way.
Yeah, of course.
Not against you, but with you. So and that's the thing. Whenever I walk into any room, I don't say I do it all the time, but مثل ما قلتي, you speak to people, you get an idea of who they are, how they think, and what are their priorities in life, what are their goals, what are their things, and one of the things that I've realized is that I'm not finding a lot of people that are like me. I mean, up until recently, but no, so you need to be very mindful of Anjad, how much time you're giving to other people, and again, whether or not they fit your journey and fit your story. And even if they don't, see what learnings you can take from them. I'll tell you why. Because masalan, you could meet someone who is, for example, very far off religion, for example.
Yes.
But then when you talk to them, you realize you're like, okay, they might be so far off religion, but actually they still have a lot of other qualities that have helped them in their life. For example, أنا باخد مثلا هيدي الصفة من عندهم. I take that to myself. برجع بروح عند حدا تاني. Somebody مثلا I don't know who, I don't know. For example, I don't know, maybe who's very persistent, for good or bad. But you take that learning of, okay, persistence can get you somewhere eventually. برجع باخدها معي, you know. No, against it?
Yes and no. I understand what you're saying in retrospect. I would apply that, for example, let's say I'm at a work event and I meet someone and it's not necessarily someone I want to keep in my life. Fine. But how many times can you keep doing that? At some point you need to, it's very much a time waster. You'd be surprised. It's very much a time waster, especially engaging with people of a lower frequency. So to me now it's, don't get me wrong, the Bismillah, what's the word? Just what is the word? The formalities of marhaba, kifak, you're at an event, whatever. That's all fine and dandy. But you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And if you take a second and look at the 5 people you've surrounded yourself with this past week and you are disappointed, you need to change the 5 people around you. And I've noticed that most people, if you ask them about the sum of the 5 people they've been around, it is quite a disappointing sum. And that's okay. And that's completely fine. Because either those people will never do the shadow work and grow and whatever. And they can, khair wa barakah, they might be nice people and good people. They're not necessarily bad.
100%.
They're just not your people. And they can go about their lives with Allah hanniyon. And some people might grow, but it's just not their time now. That being said, I will keep going steadfast straight ahead because there is no alternative for me. And then God will send you the resources and the people you need along the way. But you have to, there is no virtue in constantly giving people a chance. People think it makes you nice and people get it very confused. And no, I give the benefit of the doubt and no, I'm nice to this person who, you know, they're good. They're actually really sweet when you talk to them. There's no virtue in that. And people have really tricked themselves into, I'm a nice person, I'm nice. You are not. You are actually quite weak. The virtue is being able to be disciplined and recognize, no, this is a time waster. And with all respect, move on ahead. If you can master that, that is a virtue because it takes strength to do that. It's very weak to just be nice to everyone.
No, and مثل ما قلت, you need to, again, to go back to the initial discussion we had, which is you need to be aware. You need to be very razor sharp in your decisions in anything you do in life, and know that this conversation is done. Not this one, like with the other person. Conversation is done. I can't spend more time with this person. Done. Sakkar al-bab.
Do you know how hard it is for most people to do that? Do you know how hard it is for most people to do that? That's why most people struggle to leave a relationship. They struggle to cut off a toxic friend. They struggle to cut off certain people. It is the thing that maybe most people talk about. Habibi, you need to cut this off. Habibi, you need to discuss this with them. And khalas bikaffi. It is the hardest thing for most people to do. And it's all in the name of, no, but she stood by me. No, but he stood by me. No, but they did this for me. And it's all excuses. And they try to convince themselves that they're nice people. But it's you're weak. It takes strength to cut those people off. And then I'll tell you one quote that I heard recently. Don't let your loyalty keep you in situations your common sense would have gotten you out of. And by loyalty in this case, I mean this weakness of haram, the benefit of the doubt, or haram, I've known them for a few years, or they were nice to me here. It's a waste of time.
Awesome. You know, and I think as well, like one thing that, like one other thing is that, we always go back to whatever's comfortable, right? You know, like whenever you're in your comfort zone, you never want to leave it. Because you need to find that inner strength to pull yourself out of it, and be.
Comfort is a tricky word here.
Is it?
Yeah, because some people's comfort zones are toxic relationships.
Exactly.
Some people's comfort zones are war zones.
But that's a problem, no?
Yeah.
I know exactly, and this is what I'm saying. Is that a lot of times, you know, yeah, we're in a bad moment, bad situation, but no, خلاص, it's what I know. I don't بخاف اطلع شوف what's out there in the world. I'm afraid to leave it because if I leave it, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. How's it going to affect me or yeah, I mean,
this is what I'm saying. I won't be very nice. خليك وين ما انت. Stay exactly as you are. Stay right there.
To each their own.
You can take the camel to the water, but you can't force it to drink.
Wasn't it the horse?
The horse, the camel, the donkey,
horse.
the zebra,
I grew up with the horse. No,
Well,
camel. No,
it's Ramadan. Let's go for camels.
camels. Yeah, let's be a little bit more culturally relevant.
Man, no, horses, Arabian horses are the best. But no, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink.
Yeah.
Then stay. Because, and I'm not saying this from in a condescending way.
abadan.
I was that person, so comfortable in my self-sabotaging, toxic comfort zone. خليكي.
Enjoy it.
خليكي.
Enjoy it, and if you want to make it out, great. If not,
Stay. Like literally, that's the only thing I can tell you. Stay.
yeah. Honestly, that's something. So, نحن the way we like to end every episode.
Are we done?
Pretty much.
Did we talk about manhood enough for you?
I mean, honestly, we did. Like, I got a lot of learnings that I didn't think about as in that much detail as before. So that was fantastic.
Because I've seen your videos and the kind of the direction is quite different than where we went today. I apologize.
No, abadan, by the way. Bilakis, I felt that it was very like informative. Bilakis, there's a lot of learnings, by the way, that people can.
You're very welcome.
Well, I started like, did I say thank you? Thank you.
No, I'm just teasing.
No, I know, but like, sometimes I forget things. I forgot to say things. So, the way we like to end every episode is there's a notebook here. I don't know if you saw it or not. If you were wondering, why is there a notebook on the table? No? Did you?
No.
Did you not? Okay. So
I saw it, but I was wondering.
Oh, you weren't wondering. You were just, cool notebook. No? Okay.
I like to surprise myself. Curiosity is great sometimes.
Curiosity also killed the cat. Did it kill the cat? I don't know.
9 lives.
I was wondering about that the other day. I was really wondering. I'm like, how does it? How? Impossible.
For a cat to have 9 lives?
Yeah.
How many lives do you think you have?
1.
No. Every day you wake up, it's a new life. You could walk out of here and get hit by a car. You think a cat's lucky with 9 lives? Every day God protects you and doesn't kill you. That is a life.
Okay, no. Okay, yes, sure. But I'm thinking about it in in a very different way.
But it's a metaphorical thing when they say a cat has 9 lives.
Yeah, I know, but I always wonder about it. I'm like, but how? Like, it's crazy how these things come around.
That's what you wonder about?
I mean, I wonder about a lot of things. This is one of them. So we have this notebook here, and what we normally ask every guest to do is to write down a piece of advice or a quote that could help someone in need, or advice you maybe even give yourself if you're in a tough time or tough moment, helping them get out of a situation that they want to get out of and don't know how, or something you would tell yourself every day as a reinforcer.
Excuse me, the mic. Here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I start always with Bismillah on the top of the page.
It's a very unique signature. And your handwriting is very Disney-like, by the way.
I grew up in a French school, so cursive was très important.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
C'est impossible. I don't know a lot of French,
Cursive.
even though I'm Lebanese, but people are all surprised by that. I don't know why.
That what? That you don't speak
No,
French?
I don't.
Not
speak
all
French.
of you do.
Yeah, some people are like, you're Lebanese, you should speak French. It's like
I think you guys call the ones who speak French the Frenchies.
Frenchies. Yeah, there's Frenchie. Yeah, Frenchies like they grew up in a French school, but they only speak French. بيفوتوا كلمتين عربي every now and then, وكلمة إنجليزي just to be international. But the accent is what kills me. I can't.
I don't have that accent.
No, you don't. أبدا.
No, we don't.
You should go to Lebanon.
No, thank you.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, Lebanon is a beautiful country, so if ever you have the chance to.
Oh, I went last August. I hated it.
What?
I did not enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Lebanese people are very lovely. They're very welcoming. They're very kind. But I think we'll talk about it later.
Talk about it off camera. So, guys, so thank you for being for watching, and thank you for being on the episode.
Thank you for having me.
An incredible experience. So thanks so much for being here and sharing all of your knowledge and know-how. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
Amazing.
We're done?
We're done? Done. Thank you. Sorry, man, I didn't get your name.
Hi, Muhammad.
Mo. I was calling you Mo.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah?
It's informative.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm just here to bestow my wisdom.
أصدقائي تعلمت كثير أشياء.
شفت؟ والله في روزها في ليلى on the
نفس
podcast.
المواضيع اللي بحكي معاها مع أصحابي كمان.
والله. It's interesting إنك بتحكي مع أصحابك هيك لأنه كتير بعرف شباب they avoid talking على هيك مواضيع.